Actually, I think we should rewind to go for the core value of Lakewood and then transition into the relationships you have with those communities. So what is that core value for Lakewood that sort of drives the entire company?
I would say approximately 6 years ago, we identified that things were changing in BC. And well, I guess Canada, you could say. And it was getting to the point where we were starting to realize that um, working with Indigenous groups was going to be a thing of the future. And we wanted to identify that at Lakewood, we wanted to have transparent partnerships, and it's for mutual beneficial relationships with the communities of Indigenous. It's critical to working in those communities to know that we're open to engage with them and to try and assure that we've got they have those employment opportunities, and there's economic benefit for them while we're in on those projects and in their territories.
So what's the shift for a company to do that? I mean, that's, when you lay that out, what are the steps that you take as a company? I mean, you've got multiple partners and you sit down and start these discussions with how, as a company, you're going to build these relationships, build these bridges, essentially contribute to industry together. What, I mean, of course, you worked with Indigenous communities before that, but when you said 6 years ago, what was the actual shift in the company, even if it's just mentality, or was it an actionable shift?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Jared. There's no handbook for this. This is
No.
something that you need to go and start engaging, meeting,
Mm.
participating in wherever you can, whatever community activities are taking place with Indigenous. You need to go and do that. What we did, and that to us was a full-time project. So we sourced out a person that can do that constantly on a day-to-day basis and maintain or develop and maintain those relationships, and eventually engage into um, joint ventures, memorandums of understanding, whatever that might look like, and come up with a plan for their community and how we integrate into it, what their economic benefits going to be, how do we engage their people into the work that we do, and to make sure they have the advantage of that.
For you, just for you personally, I mean, probably living up in Prince George, similar to the area, growing up in Kamloops and that. I mean, you grow up around the Indigenous community, of course, lots of Indigenous people. But did you learn, even just on the business side, in that process of taking those active steps as a company, did you learn things, even just a way to communicate that maybe you just hadn't, a way you hadn't approached it before, just on a personal level?
I've Yeah, that's definitely a good question. Personally, I've been involved, and I'll use the local Indigenous group, McLeod Lake Indian Band. We've done a lot of work there with them prior to making these arrangements, but that was before it was a norm. Now it's a norm. Now we have a relationship. We have an understanding. Uh, Developing that, that's been like a 20-year process.